Good evening, workshoppers. And, well, thanks for going through and joining me here on tonight's episode. Uh, just a full disclosure, this one is probably going to be a little bit short. Just because of the events and everything that's happened, as of yesterday from this recording, and hence the actual title itself, episode 158, February 2nd, or February 12th, 2019. I'm reading the date in European time there, and uh man, I don't it's rough. For those of you that don't know, and if you're listening to this podcast, you're at least, involved enough within the Diablo community and the Blizzard community in general that you know that yesterday Activision Blizzard laid off close to 800 employees, with a lot of them coming out of Blizzard itself. The layoffs themselves seem to be almost entirely from community, esports, and some other little picking and choosing from here and there. I've seen some people in IT. I don't think I've seen very many, if any, developers, at least from Blizzard, that were let go. And it's a rough time, and there's a lot of emotions. Obviously, the knee-jerk reaction to news of that, and seeing people that you've known, for years, people that you were friends with, working on a Diablo fan site before they had later went through and, joined Blizzard. That is just it. It's the initial responses, of course, is always just going to be anger, and I don't want to go through and just start throwing out everything that I'm feeling, and just have no filter and such, because that doesn't do anybody good. That doesn't do anyone justice, and it doesn't accurately address the issues and such. So that's why I just wanted to kind of go through and do a short little quick take on it, as I take time in order to go through and process and look through everything that happened. That obviously, I don't know, it sucks. Yesterday was rough, going through and looking at all these people that I'm friends with that just lost their jobs, or having been in similar situations myself. Only, when I worked at Circuit City, oh so many years ago, I went through 2 different layoffs, and I managed to survive both. One of them in particular, where I was in a room with 8 other people, and I was the only one that survived. And obviously, it really, no one needs to go through and explain why getting laid off sucks. But those that are left, it is rough on them too. So just because they're, you might know someone, or you see, another community manager or developer that kept their job at Blizzard, that doesn't mean they aren't hurting right now. Some of their best friends just got let go. People that they've worked with for years, some over a decade, just are no longer in that office today. And that I believe it's called a survivor's guilt, survivor's remorse, and it's a very real thing. And one of the things that you'll see a lot of times happening of a layoff of this magnitude is that there'll be more people that leave, that they can't handle the feelings or the emotions that are now tied to those empty chairs or those empty desks, at the office anymore. They feel like, well, these people, like this person that I worked with, was so much better and more qualified and skilled than I was. Why am I still here? So I'm just gonna leave. It's rough. It sucks. It sucks for everyone involved. Like, literally everyone involved. Those that got laid off, those that didn't, and there's just so many questions. Activision Blizzard, of course, reported record revenue, not record profits, but record revenue for 2018. I've seen that, kind of thrown around like a whole lot. That's how the earnings call started. but the reasoning for the layoffs itself was they were actually looking to see their revenue drop by 13% going into 2019 because they had no major releases planned. And, you know, on the Diablo side of that little announcement, as like kind of like the shock and everything begins to wear off, that means, you know, something that myself and Leviathan and such had been saying for a while. If you were expecting Diablo 4, you know, 2018 or 2019, or honestly before an announcement before 2020, then, you know, you're setting yourself up to be disappointed. So we're not going to have, I mean, at this rate, with the statements of that they're not going to have any major launches from Blizzard this year. I mean, that even means there's not even going to be Diablo Immortal coming out in 2019. Though we do have the other Diablo projects that they said that they're going to begin to start showing this year, so maybe 2020 will be a better year in terms of that. But it's just, I also have to sit and think that, you know, like, obviously everyone wants to go through and say, oh, this is Bobby Kotick, this is Activision, you know, going through and getting their hands in the cookie jar. And I wonder, just off of like just some comments and things I've seen other people share, you know, if you have a business and you're not running it efficiently, and it's something that even that it might be like draining a lot of resources and such, you know, wouldn't the, like, the it'd be good to do like a course correction in order to kind of like trim things that aren't needed, or, you know, staffing bloat, other things like that. You know, maybe because of just inefficiencies with management or how things are done, you know, we can't entirely go through and put all of the blame directly on Activision. I'm sure that there's a lot of this that's involved with Blizzard directly. Though having said that, I don't feel as if that's some of the things that have happened, because just from what we know, a lot of the people that were let go from Community were already overworked and understaffed. So obviously it wasn't bloat in those particular departments that suffered the most from it. But that's also just going that this is something that probably has been planned for a while, because they've been, you know, cutting down on CM positions for a while. As people would leave, either to different departments or other companies, their jobs were not being replaced. And, you know, generally when you see those things happening over 8 or 9 months, to, you know, it's kind of like, oh, in retrospect, that makes sense. You know, oh, we could see that coming, you know, with going back and looking at it with 2020 vision. But, yeah. It's like one of those things. It's like, I don't know, and I don't want to jump to conclusions and just like go through. And I've seen people that have started wanting to like boycott Blizzard games, or this is the end, because there's also still so many great, talented people that are still there at Blizzard. You know, like I said, like the non-development jobs are the ones that were targeted, and the game development jobs were all kind of left intact. But community itself is a huge part of the game development process. They're the ones that, you know, garner feedback, that go through and push metrics. What is it the community is talking about? How is the community reacting to these changes that you guys made? That they're integral in this development process for these long-standing franchises like Diablo or WoW, you know, StarCraft and such. That they're vital. I would definitely consider them part of the development team. But, you know, it's not my call. And yeah, it's definitely rough. But, you know, just like I was saying, that there's still a lot of, you know, passionate people that are left, you know, at Blizzard, specifically, you know, on the Diablo teams and such, that are obviously saddened and shocked by the events that happened yesterday, but still, you know, believe in the product that they themselves are making, and that they still want to go through and deliver these, awesome, like Diablo experiences and such, and it's rough. As a fan and a friend, how do you like go through and like separate like these feelings of just like shock and anger with while still maintaining hopefulness? If you go and you look at the careers page at Blizzard is still miles long. It's like some of the most positions that they've had open in a very long time. But yeah, it's a topic that I will definitely talk about more on the next episode once I've had time to like process it and just have a better, more thought out discussion on the topic. Because we have a couple of Diablo related things. So now we are a month out from the proposed end of the season, and there's still no PTR. There's like a private PTR that we were told that would be going through and rolling up in order to address some of the fixes for high in-game lag. But they think that they've found some things that affect the higher GRs. They're internally going through and testing it. And who knows if we're gonna just get like that 1 week PTR 2 weeks before the launch of season 17, which actually oddly enough would be around when the next episode would be. For those that are hardcore collectors of stuff from Diablo, there is a specifically Diablo 3 themed loot crate that's going on right now for the month of February, so you still have a week or two in order to go through and grab into that. I know the last one that they did was just a Diablo themed, and it ended up being a shirt with the more iconic Diablo 1 rendition of Diablo on the front. This one is specifically being touted as Diablo 3, so I'll be interested in going through and seeing it. So kind of take it as what it is. If you're going through and you're getting it just for the Diablo side of it, and you're on the fence, consider it that you're paying like $30 for a t-shirt, and you can make up your mind at that if that's perfectly fine, because a lot of the gaming graphic tees are sitting around that price point anyways, and you'll get some other extra little stuff. I like the little, in the previous Diablo one also came with some Doom shotgun shot glasses, which get used occasionally. That's fun. But yeah, like I said, short episode, and we will talk about this more. I just want like I've said repeatedly as I probably said like 5 times the last 10 minutes, that is just I don't want to give just a knee-jerk reaction. I think JR actually has like a wonderful kind of like think piece over on BlizzPro, talking about like his thoughts in the future of like BlizzPro as like a fan site and such, and how this reacts, how this this kind of action and direction from Blizzard affects us as content creators and just fans of Blizzard. And you should probably go through and check that out. It was really, really awesome. If you're still a fan, of Diablo itself, regardless of what your feelings for Blizzard itself might be, now would be a good time in order to go through and show that, whether it be on Twitter, Reddit, or a forum post, just to give your well wishes. You have a favorite artist, a favorite developer or composer, or even a favorite community manager. Whether they're still at Blizzard or not, now would just be a time to go through and say thank you. Whether they're still at Blizzard or not, they're hurting right now, and it would mean a lot to them. And so with that, I'm kind of gonna call it here. So again, thank you for going and joining me on this episode here tonight. And if you have any questions, for the show, or comments about your own feelings for what has happened, with the Blizzard community in general, feel free, drop me a line, Westmarch Workshop at blizzpro.com. You can also go and hit me up at Twitter at the WM Workshop. And I'll be here not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that, because we record every other Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/BlizzPro. You can find the stuff that we talk about here on the show and more over at diablo.blizzpro.com. Yeah. Y'all have a good night.